Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Malibu Pacific Church podcast here at Malibu Pacific Church. Hey, if you haven't listened to this past week's Sunday sermon yet, please press pause now and go listen to it so that this podcast makes a little more sense. But again, not going to tell you how to live your life. And you are at the best podcast in the history of forever, everybody. We got Andy here today.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, there we go. Andy's here. And we just finished up session number 3 on blueprints.
That's right. I'm starting to lose track of
the time.
We're in the middle of a series.
We're in the middle of a series.
Middle of the series. There you go.
How about that? It's been a pretty amazing series so
really
far.
Good.
Yeah. And I think one of the things, well, this is actually a question that I got through email, was where are you getting your visuals from? Because they're pretty amazing. So just to let you know, you're getting
Joel,
some
help
visuals.
me out. Which one are we talking Adam and Eve?
I think we're talking Adam and Eve here.
You didn't do that. That was actually Madison.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I do lean into Joel, but I think that one was Madison.
One of our amazing graphic designers.
She's a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of others. We did use, she's doing all of it's not PowerPoint, but she's doing all the visuals up on the, is that what they mean? Also
I think
by the
so. Yeah,
blueprint?
I think it was the Adam and Eve one, because when people are seeing, at least I know I've had this conversation with this person in particular, they love the visual aspect. And when you even crack the joke of, well, we have footage or videos or photos from back in this day, it is just very helpful. But it's one of those things that it feels like you're actually putting people into the story, which really helps.
We need to leverage that screen more visual. We actually are in a postmodern age. Many people do not know the Bible, although tonight, if you're listening today, and next week, we're doing how to read the Bible. We are back to a visual way of learning the Bible stories, but not just for church and Bible. You know this from TV and media.
TikTok.
8
seconds.
We are. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
We have become storytellers again.
Ooh.
We are needing stories to help us understand and put things into perspective. So we have become a storyteller society. And let me just back up a little bit. This may bore everybody, but we became the age of reason during the Renaissance, the 1500s, everybody. And then we went more left brain. But before the 1500s, we were very visual. And that's where stained glass windows came from during the Dark Ages, the medieval ages, and all the churches had incense. They had stained glass windows with the pictures of the images because it was an illiterate society in Europe. And so when they went to church, it was the best show in town. I mean, look there was a fog machine and then light coming through the stained glass.
So not much has changed.
Not much, actually. Not
to
much
be really honest.
So to be honest, we've really become that society again where we have an experience. And then number 2, we're using a screen instead of stained glass windows to help tell a story because we actually understand more with our right brain and stories more than we are verse by verse or here's a word and go through the Greek, more analytical. And so we remember actually our brains work that way. And so the way that they told the story or how people remember or know the Bible is when you went to church, literally it's in visual form on the stained glass windows. So I think we're returning to that, and I think we need to leverage, we've been talking about it, leverage it more, especially our LED wall that we have. It's not just to be cool. It really creates a...
it creates an environment, but also creates that helping you be a part of the story, or at least envisioning the story around you. I totally agree with you. I think that in the church, we sat in this almost like lecture hall kind of church for quite some time. I think a couple of decades, to be really honest, where it was like lecture, a lot of exegetical, here I'm going to read scripture sentence by sentence, and we're going to pick apart every single word. And then what does this mean, which is very helpful in that regard. Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with it once I heard it.
Cool. So that was great that you just told me what would happen, why my wife needs to leave the camp in Deuteronomy. But I don't understand where this is going to play into this later on in life. But okay, sounds good.
It's a lot of information, very analytical, very left brain. Nothing against that. I love that, actually, personally. I'm more left brain.
Okay.
and I love to study.
Yes.
But to help people understand, remember, apply, that is actually more right brain.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like in the community in which we get to do ministry inside of Malibu, I know we have left brain and right brain, but I feel like the community, and as a majority, and I'll speak for this for the people that I've met, are actually a little more right brain, where they like the art,
Malibu,
they
the
like
arts.
the storytelling, they
Yeah.
love to tell stories.
Yeah.
But there's something about, I don't know where this came from, and I know this is like beating a dead horse or something, but like on a Sunday morning where it has to be lecture hall, like I have to leave feeling like crap or feeling like I did Bible 101 this morning. That's perfect. Instead of walking away going, wow, I understand that story better and how I can apply those principles
That's right.
into my own walk.
That's right.
So, in maybe like your preaching style, has that switched over the years? Like maybe when you're in Santa Rosa, was it a little more lecture hall, or was it still always story bound?
No, my first church, actually going way back,
Yeah.
Tranquility United Methodist Church. It was I came right out of seminary, and guess what I needed to do? I had to act smart and tell everybody what I learned the last 3-4 years of seminary, graduate school, and
Yeah.
I was very left brain lecture, and look how smart I am, and I know the Greek.
Speak loud and carry a big stick
There you
instead of
go.
speak softly and carry a big stick. Yeah, for sure.
But then I started noticing that people weren't learning anything. They weren't changing it. They weren't impressed either.
Ooh,
They didn't care and didn't understand. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Whatever. Thanks. So it happened in Santa Rosa when we became a church front church people. And then when you know your audience and they have zero biblical background, you need to give context. You need to explain in a way that somebody that's never heard the Bible before.
Yes.
And what was helpful to me was reading through the book of Acts, which we're going to do the book of Acts after Easter.
spoiler.
Acts chapter 17 with Paul at Mars Hill talking to the philosophers, and he's walking up to Athens. I've actually had a chance to be there and actually be on that hill. And you can literally see the road from where the boats would come in and go on all the way up through Athens, and he's on Mars Hill talking to the philosophers, and there's idols everywhere. And Paul says, I notice that one of the idols is to a god, an unknown God. Let me talk to you about who that unknown God is. So he found a common illustration in their own culture because he couldn't say to them in Athens, well, the Bible says.
Yeah.
None of them had the Bibles. None of them are Jews. They have no biblical context.
Yep.
They have no Jewish history from Abraham. He's talking to Athenians who are philosophers who have no biblical background. So how do you talk to that person? So that's where I ended up in Santa Rosa was, okay, 97% of the people in Santa Rosa are unchurched. Fourth generation of never, ever being in a church. Grandparents were in Sunday school.
Yeah.
These are the grandkids and great-grandkids of kids who had never been inside the church, had no memory, no... When you say Bible, they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Seriously. So how do you have a conversation or explain it to them? So being in that context helped me. I just assume there's people in the room that have no knowledge of it and of the Bible and any story. There's no context at all. So you need to bring everybody up to speed.
Amazing.
We did a lot of wine tasting up in Santa Rosa, and we went to this winery, and I'll never forget the person who was in charge of the winery gave us a little tour. And when you go to a cool winery, they take you into the cellar. I mean, into where the wine barrels are and the caves. And
the caves are so fun.
The caves are fun, and it's really cool.
It is
and
very cool.
They talk about the entire process. And then at the end, I'll never forget this, about 20 years ago, she said, this is what we're trying to do. We assume every person who comes to our winery has never tasted wine before, and they have no idea the process or what it is that they're tasting. They're uneducated or don't know anything about winery and wine or anything. we believe our customers will be loyal, and we want to help educate them and help them understand the process and actually what it is that they're tasting and the process and the different varietals and so forth. So we assume every person who comes to our winery knows nothing.
Amazing.
And I thought, well, that's what we should be doing at the church.
Yes.
Just as every person who walks on our campus, just assume
Yeah.
they know nothing and bring them up to speed.
Yeah.
And help them not. That's what they said. We don't want any of our customers to feel stupid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go. You know,
Yeah.
they're tourists. They're like coming in from Indiana or somewhere. They're like, we're just in the wine country. We don't really drink wine. We don't know anything. They're very apologetic. We just
Like this
part of the tour. You know,
This is a red, right?
This is a red
this
because it
one's-
looks like
this
it.
one's a white, I believe. Yeah, totally.
So they said we don't want anybody to feel stupid that comes to our winery.
Incredible.
And I just thought, well, that's how I want everybody at the church to feel.
Yes.
And I can ask any question and not feel, you don't know Leviticus, you idiot.
How do you not? Who begat who? You don't know?
What? You idiot.
Quick, go on the lineage. 3, 2,
Right.
1. Yeah. No,
So
yeah, totally.
that's where it came from. And I've just kept that. I just assumed that every person who walks on our campus or is inside our worship service, I don't want anybody to feel stupid or feel like they need to apologize for any question that they ask.
Incredible. I feel like to people who might know more about the Bible and step on the campus for their first time too, I think that they should be able to have that freedom, and they do, to have the conversation like, hey, I'm been a Christian for a long while in my life. I've been baptized. You know, there's people that walk on this campus that have come from maybe another church. They moved into there. And I feel like that winery would probably do that same thing, where if somebody starts talking, it takes, X amount of years to get to this, the person who's doing the little tour will be like, oh, well, we can dive deeper and have a little bit more of that
There you
conversation.
go. That's good.
Not just to assume everybody knows this is 12-year barreled,
That's right.
But
Because wineries they can be snobs,
no, they totally can.
big time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I just love the intentionality of we're not going to be snobs. We want people to enjoy the experience, ask any question, not feel stupid, and we'll take them with where they are and help them
Yeah.
become better.
And that's a great blueprint for this church, too. I mean, I just think of the online service we got to do for the week after Christmas. And we're in the context, we filmed it in Malibu, down at the pier. You're in front of the ocean, and you're talking about let's catch the wave.
Yeah.
Like if you were to do that same sermon in the fields, let's use Indiana again, in the cornfields of Indiana.
Yeah.
Let's catch the wave. People would be like, what are you talking about?
That's a great illustration.
Man.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So...
Exactly.
So I'm loving the blueprints. This is so great. And on top of that, I think the really big focus on this too this past week, and I know this is one of your not back pocket sermons, but and I love this is one of your hills. I feel I'm not going to speak for you, but what it feels like when I hear in your sermons for a while is how much relationships really matter in this world.
I start getting kind of emphatic, and I feel bad afterwards.
No. This is what we love.
I'm starting to preach at everybody.
How dare you preach on
I feel like I'm shaming people. Like, it is not an option for your high schooler not to be a youth group.
Yeah, no, relationships matter.
Well, because then they come 10 years later and go, oh, my kids screw up, and can you help them? I was like, did they go to youth group?
Was karate more important that they dropped out of?
Exactly.
What was more important, that one all-star game or eternity? That is the huge one. And to be honest, I am dealing with that as a parent too. So girls are getting invited to these soccer all-star things, and I'm just like, number one, they're all in cahoots with each other. They're a total ripoff, and I don't really believe in them. And their college scholarships don't matter. They're not even going to make it to college.
They're not.
No, I'm just good. My kids are great. At soccer.
They're incredible.
Oh my gosh! But the way that certain coaches who want to do one-on-ones.
Well, my brother coaches for UC Santa Barbara, and they hardly give out full scholarships anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So just the idea of my kids going to college to get a scholarship.
We're putting that $450 into a college fund, and it'll mature into $4,000 by then.
You're better off. Did have a family in Santa Rosa after years, and they heard me preach all these sermons about have your kids in the youth group and church and so forth. And and they did all the traveling sports and everything. And recently we saw them, and they said, you know what? They didn't get the scholarship, and we made a wrong choice. I mean, we thought that the traveling baseball would be the answer to everything. And guess what? You know,
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Unless your kid is like in that top 0.00001%. But even then, Tommy John. Anyways, we'll keep moving. There's so many variables and all the things too. But I really believe eternity matters more than that one All-Star game. And I believe that the thing that you really were preaching on is not following Jesus alone, that you can't follow Jesus alone, you know? And
well, that's oh my gosh, Dallas Willard, I forgot. Yeah, I have a few quotes there. He says you can't, do you remember? I can't remember. That was a Dallas
The goal
Willard.
of community is not comfort, but formation.
Yeah, but he also says you cannot grow spiritually alone. I mean, your relationships, his point is spiritual. Okay. And Dallas Willard, who's a human growth and development guy, but also a spiritual development guy, and he's passed away a few years ago. John Ortberg is a protege of his. John Mark Comer is also a big Dallas Willard guy. So anyway, if you read any of those people, they're pretty much quoting Dallas Willard. Yeah, I mean, Dallas Willard is saying your relationships are as spiritual of an experience, and it's helping you to grow your faith. And that's why I quoted at the beginning what AA has discovered, that people don't break their addictions because, the last line, community builds faith. 3 words, conclusion from the Alcoholics Anonymous research group in California.
Amazing.
Not Christian.
Yeah.
And they said people need belief. They need faith. And you can't grow faith without community. That's coming from non-Christians. So Dallas Willard on the Christian side is saying the same thing.
Yeah.
That, well, I mean, it makes sense. I could have emphasized this a little bit more. Adam and Eve, first picture that we talked about.
Yep.
God designed them to be in community with each other and with God. It's a spiritual thing that was happening in the garden.
Yeah. It was not good for man to be alone.
It's not good for man to be alone. So, right. It's a spiritual, and it's not heavy Bible study, but
it's kind of like first
be in a
chapter.
church, get in a church, get in a small group. I mean, you have to take that step. I mean, this is not heavy theology here. It can be heavily theological as far as having a conversation, but just go and do it.
And I think that step is some of the hardest steps for people too, because it honestly might be one of the most vulnerable, because they have been used to being that, maverick, the solo person, not Top Gun Maverick, but just that person that thinks they can do it all on their own, where God's like, hey, you're not supposed to, and that's okay.
And people move to Malibu to be isolated.
Pay top dollar for those top fences.
Isolation, right.
Yes,
so we have to work extra hard around here. We use the term life is better connected. There's been some social media of other churches saying, oh, that's such a cliche. I hate that, of course. And I hate it when people on social media are criticizing all churches in America. That term really works here because it's really needed here. And so maybe if you're in Texas and you live in a little country town and everybody's connected.
Everybody's on each other's business 24/7.
24/7, it's not such an issue. And that seems like a stupid statement.
Yeah.
But for Malibu, we need to be reminded of that because they're paying millions of dollars to be isolated. So we are saying it's countercultural.
Yes.
Life is better connected. To grow spiritually, we need to be connected relationally. And that's another thing that we say here all the time. It's sticky. So anyway, I don't know why I said that, but bloggers out there criticizing all churches in America and putting us all under one blanket. Every context is different. Every local church is different.
Yep. Don't speak for all the local churches.
Do not speak for all of us, please.
Because there's a reason why God created the local church.
Yeah.
And you can find your blueprint for your next steps in your journey with Christ. Here at Malibu Pacific Church, we are on session 4 this Sunday. It's coming to you at 9:30 and 11 o'clock a.m. Sunday. You can watch online or on site. Be here on site and be in the chat rooms online. It's going to be a good time, and we'll save a seat for you. With that said, if you haven't hit that subscribe button right now to the Malibu Pacific Church podcast, and also share this with somebody who needs to hear it. More importantly, share the sermon with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you haven't listened to the entire series yet, I would say go back. They're on YouTube. They're on MalibuPacific.church. They're on the Malibu Plus app, and you can listen to all those past sermons there. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Malibu Pacific Church podcast, and we'll see you for a new episode every single week. Everybody have an amazing week. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or hand gestures, please email them in, and we'd love to answer them on the show. Have a great week, everybody. Till next time.
Take care.